Seeds, Shoots, and Shade. A reflection for the 11th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Generally speaking, we find the focus of the liturgy of the Word in the Gospel reading. On any given Sunday, the first reading, usually from the Old Testament or Hebrew Scriptures, stands in direct relationship to the Gospel, laying down a foundation for it. Often a seed in the old story bears new fruit as Jesus reinterprets it and challenges his disciples through word and action to broaden and deepen their understanding. In between the two, the responsorial psalm acts as a bridge connecting old and new, reacting to God's actions, as portrayed in the first reading, and relating indirectly to the gospel. The second reading comes from one of the New Testament letters and may or may not support the aforementioned focus or theme of the day. In today's passage from Ezekiel, a shoot of the fabulous cedar, used in ancient times as interior decor in temples and palaces for chests and musical instruments and as masts for ships, torn from its topmost branches and replanted on a mountain, symbolizes the restoration of David's monarchy in Israel. All the trees of the field represent the kings of other nations that will bend to the power of the Lord, with high trees brought low and lowly ones lifted up. This language rings a bell, pinging forward to Jesus Christ as the shoot replanted and his kingdom of God as the spreading tree. Just to get a sense of the scale of this metaphor, consider this. Beginning from a tiny shoot, mature cedars of Lebanon can reach a height of 140 feet, with a trunk diameter of 8 feet and a branch spread of nearly 300. This Sunday's selection from Psalm 92 carries this vision forward, as those loyal to God, the just, flourish like the mighty cedars of Lebanon. Old age does not wither them or diminish their fruitfulness. They remain vigorous and sturdy in testimony to God's justice. How might we aspire to this as a community of faith and as individual disciples? Two parables from the Gospel of Mark build on the vision presented by Ezekiel and Psalm 92. In the first parable, Jesus compares the kingdom of God to the hidden growth of a seed in the ground. Even without human attention and effort, the seed sprouts and grows. Endowed by God with creative power of its own, the earth bears forth, as it has since the first days of creation. Applying this metaphor to the kingdom of God, Jesus makes clear that God's presence, power, and purpose, God's dream for the world, will not be denied. The final verse from the first reading rings true. As I, the Lord, have spoken, so will I do. The second parable, featuring the minute mustard seed, sounds an unmistakable echo of Ezekiel. Tiny seed corresponds to tender shoot, and each grows and puts forth sturdy branches, providing shelter and shade. Birds of every kind shall dwell beneath it, every winged thing in the shade of its boughs, from Ezekiel becomes the birds of the sky can dwell in its shade in Mark's Gospel. one can almost hear the avian symphony announcing God's reign. How might we respond to this vision of God's in-chargeness coming to be in the world? Surely, as baptized disciples, called to carry forward the mission of Jesus Christ and share his passion for God's reign, we want to be awake, aware, and attentive, recognizing the signs and ready to serve, but also doing our part to transform the worlds we inhabit by the power of the Spirit moving through us, always aligning our attitudes and actions with the example of Jesus.